Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I've taken a little hiatus for about almost 2 months now without doing any videos. I've been away on business. I've currently still have a cold, but I think we can get through it. But forgive me ahead of time if you hear me cough, sneeze, snot, everything that goes along with it. So today I'm back in the kitchen and we're going to be canning milk. And I had never heard of canning milk, but I thought, why not? Done some digging and it turns out you can, and I'm going to show you how. Of course, this would be good for emergencies, blackouts. One of the hardest things that we had trouble with is refrigeration. When derecho came through here in Southwest Virginia, it's been probably 5 or 6 years ago, all of the stores, the fast food included, were all out of ice. So in case you're thinking, well, I'll just stick things in a cooler, then you may not have that option. So I'm going to show you what you'll need, and hopefully this will be a short video, so stay tuned and watch. Hopefully you'll learn something. Alright, the first thing you're going to need, if you're going to do any canning, of course, is you're going to need some jars. And I've got my lids and rings set off to the side. So I've got my milk, and this is great if you can find it on sale, but if you don't have enough refrigerator room, you can freeze milk, but I've noticed that the solids and the whey tend to separate the fats and such. You can shake it up, but it's not the right consistency. So we're just going to take our milk and fill our jars, and you want your jars to be cold, you want the milk to be cold, you want the canner to be cold. So I'm going to use about a 1-inch head space on these, and my canner will only do 7 quarts at a time. I do have an additional canner where I could do more, but this is plenty for video's sake, and it'll allow me to put a little bit more on the shelf. I do have dry milk. In case you didn't know, dry milk or powdered milk will store for about 20 years without any loss of flavor or nutrition. Alright, there's 1 gallon. Of course, I'm going to have about a quart left, but it'll get drank. Alright, so now we've got our jars prepped. Let's put our rings on. And then we'll go into a cold canner, which has actually been sitting out in my garage, so I know it's cold. So we don't have to fool with heating our seals up. And I'll explain why later as we start our process. So stay tuned. So we're going to load our canner, and I actually am going to be given one very, very similar to this one. This one belonged to my grandmother. It's still just as good today as it was when she probably used it, I'm guessing in the 50s. I know of the 60s. Alright, and put our lid on top. Oh, forgot one thing. We forgot some water. I'm just going to pour cold water. So now I've got 2.5 quarts. This is my handy dandy 32-ounce mug. But I really like the Ozark Trail. I only use that one for cold food or cold drinks, excuse me. So I'll set our lid on. Everything's cold, and now we set the oven, set the stove top to high. We're going to let this vent. Once we start seeing steam, then I'm going to time it, and we're going to let this vent for 10 minutes, okay? and I'll bring you back when that happens. Alright, now I've let my canner vent for 10 minutes, and now it's time to stick on the weight. After I put it on, we're just going to bring it up just until the weight starts to jiggle. Instead of weight, I call it a jiggler, and if you're older, you may call it that too. So we'll go ahead and put the weight on, and then we'll wait. If you're new to canning, then you'll want to check the altitude that you're at. For my altitude, I'm going to use a 10-pound, maybe that'll focus in there. So now we're going to put the weight on there, and for my altitude, it is 10 pounds. I've got a number 10 down here, so be careful when you're putting that on. And we're just going to wait until that starts to jiggle. Alright, now we've started to jiggle just now. So I'm going to reach over here and turn it off. And that's all we do. And when you just want to let it come down pressure naturally. I'm not going to take it off the heat. I'm not going to move it. And you can see just while I'm talking that it stopped jiggling around. So we're going to wait, let it cool down. So far this entire process has taken me 43 minutes. Bringing it up to temperature, letting it vent for 10 minutes, putting the weight on. Just when it starts to jiggle, then that's when you want to cut the heat off and just let everything cool down until the pressure is off. Now again, if you notice, I'm leaving the weight on the whole time that it's cooling down, and as it cools down, then the pressure will drop by itself. You do not want to remove the weight. Now this would be great for if you're getting ready for church and you've got an hour beforehand. Most of you will not, I know, because it's a struggle to get there 10 minutes early a lot of times. However, if you do have that amount of time, or perhaps for a Sunday evening service, or if you're going to visit some friends and you have an hour to kill beforehand, and you found milk for an unheard of price. I've heard of people getting it for $1.80 a gallon. I haven't seen that in my area. It's about $2.25. However, I have seen it bust $4 a gallon. So in my opinion, this is a great idea, not only for emergencies, but just in case you want to stock up and when you get a good deal on milk. And also, if you've noticed, I used skim milk. When you can milk, it has a tendency to become more rich in flavor. So skim milk will almost become a little bit more than 2%, maybe not as quite as whole. If you do use 2%, it will turn out more like whole milk, and perhaps that's due to some evaporation while it's boiling inside. Okay, the time has come. We're going to take our weight off. There's no steam. It is still quite hot. We can move the lid, get that out of the way, and move our jars to cool. And that's it. So now the whole process has taken me about an hour and a half. So certainly, just like I said before, if you've got somewhere to go, some shopping to do, friends to visit, going to church, anything, if you've got an hour to prepare ahead of time, then you can can milk that you found on sale, and then when you come back, take it out of the canner and you're good to go. Now I've heard that this is good for at least 2 years, as long as the canning seals have not broken. I'll set this up here for now. Or, you know, we want to make sure that we keep it cool and we're not allowing any moisture to get to the tops. I'll go ahead and mark these today's date, and that way I'll test them and we'll go from there. I appreciate you watching the video today. I really do. thank you for the new subscribers that have recently joined. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe and hit that little bell in the lower right hand corner of your screen. That way you'll be aware of each time that I load a new video. I have a couple of more ideas in mind, some things that I've purchased, and I'd like to share them with you, and you can be aware when I post another video by hitting like, subscribe, and please leave a comment. There's many things that you can, and if I can help you, then leave a comment in the section below, and I'll try to answer them as quickly and expediently as possible. Thanks again. You never know when disaster will strike, whether it be a small power outage or a national disaster. I believe it's always good to be prepared. First start with your heart, and then the other things will fall into place. Take care. Have a great day. And Merry Christmas.